So last week, you saw me redesigning this, which is my original GoPro handle, into this, which is more the new, modern, sleek, and elegant GoPro handle. So let's talk about some things that have happened between when I showed you guys this and when I showed you guys this. So last week, I kind of showed you guys the design process that went into the creation of this, talked about some of the changes that were made and why. So after making this, obviously it was a first prototype, and I'm not going to count on a first prototype being perfect right out of the box. That's why it's called prototype. So a couple of minor mistakes that I figured out that I had made is, one, on the handle here, you'll notice there are no O-rings. That's because somebody accidentally screwed up the design for the file on that, and the handle is a little too tiny and the O-rings won't fit. So it's not that big of a deal. The main thing that I was focusing on when I was building these was getting my brass inserts right here to fit inside the hole and figuring that whole thing out. So the O-rings was a low priority. Sure, it was a little bit of a bummer, but it's an easy fix in Fusion 360. Just adjust the drawing a little bit and we're good. It's not that big of a deal, seriously. So another change that I've made to this is the fact that you'll notice that I'm using chamfered slots and countersunk screws. The main reason behind this is on the original one, I was using a counterbore. Counterbores are where you have a larger circle and then you have the screw that goes inside and it lowers it into it. Now the problem with this is it requires support material, never turned out very pretty, and I just felt like, why am I doing things, making them more complicated, requiring other equipment, when I could just go really simple and use countersunk screws, pretty much eliminate support material, and make it that much easier for people to print. So that was a big change, as well as using the brass expanding inserts over using counterboard screws, washers, and gluing nuts in the handles. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but let's face it, if we're going to go through all the process of redesigning this to make it more elegant and user-friendly, why not make the printing process that much nicer as well? So one other mistake that I noticed is when I designed in the GoPro handle right here, cutting my eyeballs out, whoops. What happened is, to make this as low profile as possible, accidentally made it too low profile, to the point that my handle was whacking against the frame, and that's not a good thing. Even though we have the snap mount there, I don't like putting undue stress on plastic components whenever possible. It tends to lead to fatigue, they tend to break quicker, and it just looks really, really, really cheesy. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to go back, redesign it, and just lower this and pull this down. So the height stays technically the same, but this whole mount gets physically moved. It's not that big of a deal. A couple of things that I did like from testing this out was having this flat top area that helps keep distance between the camera and the monitor. This is really nice because I can very easily access the buttons on the camera. I've got more of an ergonomic path for the wire to go to the LCD monitor. It's been really nice. Speaking of the LCD monitor, I redid the mount for it. The original one was this big old clunky frame, and initially I was using rubber bands to hold the monitor on, and then I switched over to glue, and it was ugly, to be quite honest. Like the previous one, it functioned perfectly fine, but when it came down to it, it could have been done a lot better. And the whole point behind this is, obviously, is we're trying to make it better. So what I've ended up doing, as you can see in this photo, is I've put a little 3D printed case on the back that's holding a small lithium battery that directly powers the monitor. Also, I've decided to make one that is glued on the back of the GoPro case. As the case does not allow the use of a battery backpack, I decided that it might not be a bad idea to put a second battery there. A, so I could use it as a storage spot for a battery for the monitor, should that need arise. I could use it to power a ring light around the GoPro, should I need to do that. Or if I needed to run a little recharging circuit for the camera, I could do that as well. By building in the modularity into the battery system as well, if I have to remove one item, it doesn't make the whole system super clunky. So I hope you guys enjoyed this update on the GoPro handle, and I might have a third video about it once I get everything ironed out. Do realize that this is sort of a running project and it's never going to be completed, and that's actually not a bad thing. There's probably always going to be something that I can add on to it, and I'll come back to it and do another video on it. I do have plans in the future to make a better wiring harness, as right now I'm using a GoPro accessory cable, which it works nice, but I don't need audio out and I don't need HDMI out. All I need is video out, power in, and audio in. So we'll see about that. Also stay tuned, because very shortly I'm going to be releasing a 500 subscriber giveaway. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I highly recommend doing that so you don't miss out on the giveaway that's coming up very shortly. And I will see you here next time on Make It with Calvin, where we build awesome GoPro accessories and other stuff.